you want perfect embroidery? Don't you hate it when you buy a design and you stitch it out, it looks okay on one type of fabric, and then you put it on a t-shirt and it doesn't? You know, even the best digitized products. I need a good design. We're having the embroidery party down the hill next month. Steve Wilson, the digitizer, he's one of the best digitizers around. But he doesn't digitize his design for every type of fabric. He can't do that because there's a vast difference in the way an embroidery design, the makeup of that design on cotton versus knit versus denim versus silk. You can't do that. So you pretty much all have to become digitizers to have perfect embroidery. Okay? And then stabilizer. If you don't stabilize proper, it's not going to work. And what's the answer? Do you just double up on stabilizer? Well, you want bulletproof embroidery. See, these are these are two designs that are professionally digitized by Walter Floriani. He's known for his teaching methods, and he knows, but he digitized them. It's called stock design. When you buy a design, they consider them stock, meaning that they're standardized. Okay, but it wasn't designed for knit, and so those don't look very good. Okay. Now, when I'm going to show you something here. Actually, this is a new software program that I believe everyone should own that embroiders. Because if you simply take any design you have and run it through this, and I'm going to show you how it does it, this software first, you will have a perfect design. I have those two samples stitched out and running through the software. I'll show you in a second. But does anybody have the Floriani Embroidery Suite? That's a big program that we've sold at different seminars. Yes. Yes. That has a function called Save to Sew. I'm going to show you that function because now they have a module that just has that function. So you don't have to buy the whole program to get that one function. And what it does is it makes your embroidery perfect. Those samples get all the way around here. Okay, here's the same two samples ran through the software. And you notice the stabilizer is different. It's not more, it's different. Because the other part of the scenario is the right stabilizer. And how do you know all this? You have all those rolls at home, right? How do you know what to use? You don't. Okay, so I'm going to show you what you need. I believe that every person that embroiders should use it. I have some samples where I used it, and I'll show you how it made Anita Good designs even better. Okay, so this is Floriani Stitch to Perfection, a brand new module, and it allows me to take a design, and I simply just open up a design, and I'm going to bring in and that's a nice design. Okay, it's digitized well, but the problem is if I was going to sew it on a knit, this needs to have different underlay and different density. This needs to overlap more, and this needs to have a different density. Now I could, if I know what I'm doing, I can change all the elements. I don't know what to do. You know, I know how to operate software, but I'm not a digitizer. Okay? So all I need to do all I need to do is go to Save to Sew. This is how simple. If you run your design through this function every single time, you will have a perfectly stitched out design. Now, there are programs that adjust density, but how do you know what to adjust it to? There are programs that adjust size. How do you know? This does it all for you. Okay? So what this does is I'm going to come down here, and this is where Walter Floriani has actually programmed. He worked with the manufacturer, and he used his theory. Remember when he was here, was it 2 years ago? He has it's called the measurement theory that measures the amount of overlap, the amount of density. It's all math. You don't have to be good at math to do this, because I know that I want to take that. They even have meat cubes. You didn't see that. They have fabric, whatever fabric you want. Polar fleece, quilt, satin. Let's take knit, and I know that's stock design. Let's say I digitize. I can choose that. If you digitize it, it may not be as good as a professional digitizer. So they allow for that. But I take the stock. I'm not saying you're not professional. I'm I'm talking about myself here. Okay? All right, so let's do knit, t-shirt, stock design. I want to hoop it, but if I don't, I can select no. Sometimes you don't want to hoop the fabric. Okay? Then I can go to next, and I want to apply new density. I want to apply the new underlay and the new push-pull compensation. Have you ever noticed that a design that has an outline, the outline is the last part and it's not even? The outline is exactly where it was supposed to go. It's the inside that's pulled and pushed out. Okay? That's called the push-pull compensation. And that, you need to know a lot to adjust that. This does it automatically. And so I apply it, and then it asks me, do I want to change it? Yes, I want it to change to those new settings. Now, what happens is I actually take this, and I go next, and it gives me a recipe on the proper stabilizer. I print that out. It tells me exactly how and what to use for that perfect result. Now, as that's going around, you can see the difference. Okay? And so I print that out, follow it. Yes, it's Floriani stabilizer, and that's a great stabilizer, but, you know, you can use any brand of stabilizer and still follow this. When I go finish, it gives me the ability to save it in any embroidery format. I don't care what machine you have. You can save it, Brother, Bob, Viking, you name it. And I can name it. I probably would change that name to Design Knit, Design Satin, Design. I would just keep a file of my different designs for different fabrics. Okay? And when I'm done, it completely changes the makeup of that design. I'm going to show you another one that you actually can see that. But I took, this is the Anita Good Design, the Victoria Monogram 2. Beautiful design. I ran it through that for the towel and improved it. It added more density for the towel to come, because otherwise that towel could show through, even with topper. It had different underlay. It's gorgeous. I did with this one as well. If you run every one of your designs through this software, you will have a perfectly constructed design. You know exactly how to stabilize. The mystery's gone. And I'm so glad that they offer this now as a separate module, because you may have 4D, you may have Masterworks, you may have all the other things that you know how to use and they're fine, but you don't have Save to Sew. Save to Sew will make that embroidery design perfect. Now let me show you one where we can actually see the difference as it changes. This is actually a design that came from an old brother card. And it's a nice satin stitch design. I want you to see, let's zoom in on it. They've actually digitized it well with some overlap. Okay. Because if you didn't have that, if it was straight, as soon as you stitch it, you'd see the fabric between them. Okay. But that's probably not the right setting for knit. Okay. So let's take, and it's not just knit, but I like using knit because we all have had problems with knit, haven't we? That's a tough fabric to embroider on. Okay. All I do again is I take this, I go to Save to Sew, I choose knit. This one is a digitized here. Again, I apply the settings. There's my recipe for the stabilizer. I can print that or I can read it. See the difference? It's almost double the overlap. It changed every aspect. Now, a very good question came up yesterday. What if I take, this person has 4D, and I take a design from one design pack, and what's great about 4D is you can align things. So I have a design from another pack, and I did some lettering. We can do this with Brother Software or Masterworks. I bring something else, so I have like 5 designs in there. This will correct all of them. I save it in that program I work with. I open it up and Save to Sew, and save the fabric I'm working with. Everything.
Then I guess I'll have to reverse it.
Bring, with only this program, no other program, you bring those designs in?
Yeah, so that file, you would save it. I would close my software program because don't do what I do. I leave so many windows open pretty soon. My computer's going, ah. So I would save it, name it,